no single leader can make global changes if we don't have collective principles.
Hello and welcome to Up Close and Personal at Invoked Studio, where we're diving deep into the heart of leadership and education equity. Today, I'm your host, Rhea, and I have with me Ms. Hasina Kharbhih, who's been working with the Impulse NGO network for the last 3 decades with her team, rescuing and rehabilitating human trafficking victims. Hasina, it's really lovely to have you here today. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me with you all here at this Invoke conventions. And I think it's lovely to be sharing across a bit of what we do, to the educational world.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to start by asking you to tell us a little bit more about the work that you do, how long you've been doing it. We know it's been for 3 decades, but tell us the journey that you've had so far.
I started at the age of 17. I was out of high school. And like any young person at that point of time, wanted to do something different. I was very active with the leadership training services and wanted to form an alumni and got my group of friends, to come home on the weekend. And that's the thing that this conversation about an alumni of the leadership training services, a school program in where I was studying, St. Joseph's School, brought to the birth of Impulse NGO Network. And looking back, I can't believe I'm sitting here and I'm like, I've just spent 35 years of my life doing what I love to do.
Right. Amazing. That's lovely to hear. Tell us a little bit more about, since you are leading this field, right? Tell us a little bit more about what challenges leaders like you face in driving such complex impact on the ground.
So when I look back at I would say the different milestones that I had overcome over the 3 decades,
right.
There's one common factor. It's resilience is a very important element for any leader in any sphere, in any field, in any subject. And the fact of re-innovating with time is also an important part. And Impulse NGO Network as a nonprofit in 35 years has re-evolved. I think every 10 years when we are really looking at what we have been doing, the guiding principle has been the Impulse model. So the Impulse model is the heart and soul, the ecosystem of the organization. It's an innovation that stands on 12 pillars, the 6 P's and the 6 R's. So the 6 P's is partnership, prevention, protection, policing, press, and prosecution, which bring the private and the public partnership. And the 6R is the action of intervention, which is report, rescue, rehabilitation, repatriation, reintegration, and restitution. So it is a single window approach that brings a collective action. So, so the word collective action is where the diving principle of your convention, this whole program is taking place, is a journey that I was living, I was breathing, I was implementing, in this 35 years. And it is one principle that I've learned that no single leader can make global changes if we don't have collective principles of engaging on a common vision. And the Impulse model became a common vision that happens to be able to scale out to 8 states of the northeast of India, North Bengal, because that's the geography from where I come from. I'm basically from Shillong, born and brought up there. And then the innovation got the World Innovation Prize in 2012. So when I look back, from a small town to a World Innovation Prize, it helped us scale to Myanmar, our neighboring countries, to Nepal, to Bangladesh, and also to Thailand, where we have a regional office out there right now, that look at how collective action has allowed an innovation, with a common vision. And these leaders are people who have come along because they trust the collective action. And they are basically individuals who have either formed an organization in the pursuit of wanting this common vision to be fulfilled. How can we end human trafficking? And there are some organization leaders who adopted the innovation and felt that if we don't reinvent the wheel, we collectively participate, as leaders. So I call this whole process shared leadership. In the last 35 years.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And once again, congratulations on all that your collective has accomplished. And you've touched on this quite a bit, but I want to dive deeper into this specific aspect. So you're talking about collective action and the role that plays in enabling impact on the ground. Tell us a little bit more about the role that collective action plays. Where is it that it comes in, or what kind of gap does that fill, collective action, to bridge the gap between your intentions as an organization and the actual thing that happens on the ground?
So when we talk about collective action, there has to be what drive collective action. For Impulse NGO Network, Impulse model, the innovation, is the drive force behind the collective action. Like I mentioned, the 12 pillars, the 6 Ps and the 6 Rs. So that is where it brought together leaders from different skill sets, different passions, different kind of agreement to the issues, that they would love to do the work, and at the same time different experiences. So when we talk about collective action, we need to understand that you cannot bring collective action if there's no common thread that binds collective action. And Impulse model bind the collective action because it's an innovation. And it is a tested and piloted innovation that in 25 years, it managed to bring these, state partners, as we call them, from the different states of the northeast of India, including the country partners that we have in the neighboring country I've mentioned that we work. So when we look back, it is many leaders sometimes work towards their passion, but want to see change, but sometimes spend so much of time to find a solution. Right? But then when the Impulse model was brought as a common vision, and then I was driving to bring them together, how we can achieve in a short span of time, but the short span of time went to 25 years ultimately. But this 25 years has been a journey of what we saw, that each one of us had different skill sets, different communication skill, different thoughts and ideas, different culture that we come from. Culture plays a very important factor in collective action, different exposure level, right? And when you drive a collective action, you need to basically identify the strength of the collective action and where each one of them, as state partners who are leaders of their own organization or leaders who join the journey to start an organization because we believe that we can change the whole unsafe migration situation and help to accomplish the mission that we have to end human trafficking, right? So that is one aspect of it. The second aspect is what I've learned is that it's very important for a leader who takes collective action to keep his or her ego behind. I've learned to keep my ego behind and come in the forefront, that what I've introduced to you as an innovation, we need to have common ownership of it. And when we are bringing it to the next state or the next country, it is not because I want to shine in that innovation. It's because you're going to shine as a leader because it's a solution. It's like, it's a tested in a lab. It's like any kind of medical, medicines that you get, right? If it's tested that this is going to cure X disease, in a collective action, there has to be an innovation that say this is piloted, that we can collectively engage ourselves and have seen the parameters that we can allow others to actually see that vision that they have, or see that common passion that they have, and then engage ourselves, in expanding or scaling out to the whole process.
Thank you so much. I think we've very well established that collective action is really important. While acknowledging that that is the case, we also see that while forming collectives, there's a lot of challenges that emerge. You've already touched on some of them, like the ego issue, and there is a richness in diversity, but that also comes with its own challenges of maybe different working styles, for example. Can you give us a few tips on what ensures success in a collective?
The success in the collective of the Impulse model has been that we made a very transparent communication among all the shared leadership that we had. We ensured that they get similar exposure at different levels all the time. So the exposure level is just not me, the person who founded the organization or who actually introduced the innovation, but allow them to also be exposed to similar platform, to similar spaces, to similar engagement, allowing them to also be in the center stage, because then they start owning that collective action. Then they start feeling that I'm sharing this. But at the same time, when I say keeping my ego behind, is I would take 2 steps back and saying that's where your collectiveness will only engage because you know the culture very well, you know your communities very well, right? So you will have to connect that aspect which I'm not aware of, but you are aware of, you know? So that is where the bridge of how you engage that consistent communication, which makes like a fulfilling kind of engagement, which is not anymore like it's my innovation or your innovation. It's about an innovation that we would want this to scale. And because we don't want to waste our time, we don't want to waste our resources when the resources are very limited, but we know that each one of us will play a very important role in the process. So that is where shared leadership is an important element to bring in a collective action, where each one of them are sharing the responsibility. The second is that identifying the different element of strength among that shared leadership and allowing them to participate, but also trying to help them like mentor that guiding principle, right? So that is a consistent till they reach a point where they're able, you know, to deliberate or to communicate or to talk to the larger audiences in a better way.
Right. Thank you so much. That's very insightful. I'm sure that gives hope to a lot of us who are trying actively to establish collectives wherever we go, and gives us some inspiration on ideas to try.
I think the world today has changed so much.
Right.
It's no longer about one leader bringing a mass movement, but it's about you know, a collective leadership who share the, you know, the values and the vision and belief. And I think I would like to close with this, that trust is a very important element. Because the moment they lose trust, then, you know, it breaks the whole ecosystem of any shared leadership or any collectiveness. So it's an important value system that needs to be ensured.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit and ask you one question before we move on to our next segment, which is, why do you think we need dialogues like Invoke It?
I think dialogue brings different learnings from different environment, from different walk of life. And dialogue help us to find some missing gap, which there's no answer to it, but yet there are learnings that can be adopted.
That's wonderful. Thank you. That's really beautiful. I'm going to now move us into our next segment, which is the rapid fire. I'm sure you're already familiar, but I'll ask you fun questions and you're going to not have too much time to respond. So just respond with whatever comes to your mind.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. If you were a superhero, what would be your superpower?
The power of building. No, I mean, if I would be a superhero, I would definitely love to bring people, you know, to be working 24/7, you know, and eat, breathe, sleep with innovation.
Okay, that's fantastic. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. Morning or night owl? Morning person or night owl?
I'm a morning as well as a night, which is quite a contrast, that I can go through the night and work, and I can go through the morning, early morning, and get back to do what I have to do.
Understood. I can make the connection between the 24/7 thing and the online. What's the most adventurous thing you've done?
Doing a bungee jumping in Uganda, when I thought I had to overcome fear after I was attacked, when I was taking up the coal mining issues in the state of Meghalaya. The attack where my driver died, and I really had to get out of that fear syndrome. So I took bungee jumping as a way of establishing that fear is within, you know, and you can come out of it. So I think that was one of the adventures I did to overcome my own fear.
Yeah, that's fantastic. If you could master any skill instantly, what would it be?
I would love to learn how to swim and surf.
Great. One message you want to give to teachers?
To be open-minded, not to be rigid, to move with time.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It was lovely having a conversation with you. This was it for this segment of Up Close and Personal at Invoke It Studio. I'll see you with the next one.